Hey, it's Faye with Sunday Nights with Faye Seidler. I'm Faye. It's Sunday night. We're doing the show. To start off with some events to kind of go over, we have a lot of safety planning for suicide prevention for vets. It's up here. There's multiple dates, but if you are at all interested in getting in touch with that, Sarah over at the VA is your best person to talk to, and you can email them about the dates and the times for all of those trainings. I am part of the Cass Clay Suicide Prevention Coalition, and we had the honor of putting on a training for welfare checks. There is a synopsis of that here involving the individuals that came to speak. We had people from First Link, we had people from our Red River Dispatch, as well as some officers talking about what it is to call a welfare check, what information might be needed, where it might be useful to do so, and how some of the systems work. It was great to hear from people that do that work every day. And the important bit is to basically get as much information as you can to make sure that we can keep the individuals that we are calling a welfare check on safe, as well as the people that are investigating it. This was a training I had suggested as part of the coalition because I think not a lot of individuals have ever really called a welfare check, and I wanted people to know what it was like, both for professionals and people in the community. In exciting news, we have the 18th Annual Red River Child Advocacy Conference, the spring conference coming up April 23rd and 24th, so you can set your calendars to that. It'll be learning all that you can about making sure our kiddos are as safe as possible. Then moving into our politics news, they're just heard the trans healthcare ban case from the Supreme Court. The actual final ruling won't be until June, so we won't see how they actually ruled. Some entities are cautiously optimistic, though it seems likely that the court case will end by saying states have the right to uphold medical bans that they feel necessary. This case does not decide if trans care is medically necessary. We already know it is with our health organizations, but rather if states have the political power to control medicine regardless if it's safe, effective, or not. So that's what's decided, and even if it is decided that states can harm trans kids, the Supreme Court case has no ruling on North Dakota's lawsuit, which will be heard in January, as it's about different issues entirely. So that's something to be aware of. Unfortunately, we won't know for another 6 months how that goes. And the last bit of news is for pretty much any state that already offers protection for trans youth, they won't be impacted by this. This just allows states who are harming trans youth to continue to do so. In awful news, our City Commissioner of Fargo, Michelle Turnberg, is at it again, creating swaths of suggested changes for how we are interacting with people experiencing homelessness. I don't know the full details, but I believe that she is requesting that we completely eliminate all camping along the river. We completely shut down the warming center that we have and instead open up another one in our civic center that does background checks on individuals and kicks people out if they're on substances. This is a warming shelter, mind you, so that means that there's no other place for them to go. If we kick them out, then they will potentially be in negative 20-degree weather and die. Like there's nothing else that will happen with a policy that she has proposed. I doubt that she has consulted our experts on this, as she has not done so in the past, and I believe that this will be, again, wasting every person's time. And you will have to have dozens of experts and professionals come to, again, talk about the sanctity of the services we have, the research that goes into it, and expertise from people both with personal experience and professional experience. It is unfortunate that she continues to waste our time, and I hope that if this continues, there's something like a recall election, because it is absolutely unacceptable. It is getting more and more frustrating that we are seeing this time and time again. I think it's fine for people to have disagreements of opinion. I think it's fine for us to discuss that, but I think it is irresponsible for a city leader to continue to put up random ideas that go against consensus of our experts. That is irresponsible. They should do the research. They should talk to people before jeopardizing this in a city commission vote. That's my opinion on this, and the opinions of many people who have any sort of background and professional experience in this. In good news, YouthWorks has a library for the Evolve group, so it'll be books featuring LG+ individuals and characters. Evolve is YouthWorks LG+ youth group that is helping individuals who are experiencing homelessness access multiple services, as well as support and peer support for being part of the queer community. In other equity news, Buffalo Fire continues to be fire. They have a new website out, a new newsletter design. I forget if I shared this before, but it's sharing it again. They do incredible work across the state, I think focusing largely in Bismarck and Indigenous issues, but they recently put out some data-driven look at graduation rates and how that is being impacted between our white and Indigenous populations and the discrepancies that exist there, as well as the barriers that cause those discrepancies. So please follow them. They have a lot of great stuff that goes out pretty regularly. In health, social work, and education news, I want to make you aware of Made Worthy. That is a consulting firm that's recently started by, I believe, survivors of trafficking who are there to let individuals, to educate individuals on those experiences and help reduce trafficking all across our state. One of the things they say in the article that you are welcome and should read is that they can tell you things you don't learn in the textbook. When we look at these issues as a professional or someone who studies these issues, it's never going to be a fully accurate picture to what people can experience. And there's always going to be little things that fall through the cracks, especially when we look at individuals who have experienced that specifically in North Dakota. A lot of our guidelines are very general and very national, and they're intended to be useful broadly, but that doesn't mean that we still can't benefit from individual voices. So that is what Made Worthy looks like that they're doing. So they are a service now. You can check them out. Two stories I want to talk about kind of in conjunction are going to be the North Dakota childcare system and school lunches for kids. I have two stories, so I'll put one up and then I'll put up the other one in a second here. But I just want you to know this has been a big interest within North Dakota. There's been a lot of stories on this, like dozens and dozens. And I think it'll be a big part of our legislative session in 2025, at least the productive parts of it. And then I just want to cue you into the North Dakota Library Association newsletter. Librarians have put that together. I think it's worth looking at. Even if you're not a librarian, they always get into some stuff. They always get into some fun stuff. You should check out what they're doing. For data and resources, I forget if I shared this, but the High Plains Fair Housing put together a brochure, which is fair housing for families with children. So if you are a family with children and you feel like you're experiencing discrimination based on that, like your landlord's treating you differently or not showing you specific units or all that kind of stuff, there is a pamphlet that you can look at now for that. And I have that on my website, but they have it in theirs because it's their pamphlet. My website just links to their website. That's how that works. And then I also have some links, which is just how to deal with mental health issues during the holidays. This was put together by the several different organizations and gives you access to ways to distress or think about holiday stress. Then going on into our community news, Theater B has a holiday performance. There's an interview they have on the North Dakota Today show. So if you want to check out Theater B, they do fantastic work. It's a place I always encourage people to check out, follow, watch their performances. If you want to get involved in art and theater, they are a great entry point. And then finally, I just want to promote some of my own newsletters if you didn't know about them. So I have the Good Newsletter, which is oops, only good news. If you just want good news because the world sucks, I have that. I have Coffee Break. That's for people who like to get more involved. It tends to be around things you can do. And then I have my monthly email, which is kind of everything. I try to focus on what I feel is important across the month. And I try to diversify. It's really my de-siloing email because I try to hit as many causes, as many areas across the state that I possibly can. So it's to show you what's going on across the state and get you to connect with other people. For tonight, I have a really great interview that I did with Jules about communication cards, which is an accessibility tool. And I'll tell you what, I don't know what my third one is. It's going to be dependent on how much time I have. So it'll be a surprise. I hope you had a good opening segment. You're really going to enjoy this interview that comes up. And then I hope you have a good night whenever you get there. All right, today I have a special interview. I'm here with Jules Deming, and they're going to be talking a lot about a product they had made. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can kind of get a look at this, but these are communication cards. They're for helping people struggling with verbal shutdown, for individuals to be able to communicate easily what is going on for anyone in their life. Also for people who are trying to help individuals who might be struggling with being expressive verbally, they can then communicate. So Jules, where did this idea come from? Tell me your process.
A dear friend of mine came to me looking to see if I had like in my various connections any knowledge of such a device. Because there are times that his own phone is overwhelming, or that it is out of reach, or out of battery, or out of signal, and the communications apps that exist are subscription based, or like, here's an ad at your worst possible moment. But my friend came to me wanting to know if I knew about any of these things, and I didn't. But what I did know is I can make one real fast. In the course of an afternoon, I mocked up a series of plan and then built them all in Illustrator in vector art format, and sent them off for manufacturing. And they came back a couple of weeks later. It's been helping wonderfully. And then I posted about that briefly to the internet. Hey, I made this nifty thing. Anybody else want one? And it sort of blew up, because it turns out that even my very roughshod first run of them was massively good in a way that a lot of things have not yet been.
You talk about how like there's a lot of options for people who go nonverbal. You know, they could be a phone option, it could be an app, but usually it's like, do you have your phone handy? Is the app going to have an ad for you? Like all those barriers. But I think another barrier is that a lot of these tools for accessibility tend to be very sterile. Like they're like medical grade and they're not really that like warm to use. So what I appreciate about your cards is that they are artistic in a way. Like they have that creativity and warmth to them that makes people want to actually use them. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, that was another thing that weighed in my mind, as the options are either sterile or infantilizing, because a enormous portion of the accessibility world is for children, because there's this unspoken message that, like, well, you're an adult now. Now you just deal with it.
So one question I have, Jules, is there anything else like this on the market? Or can you talk about kind of what that looks like?
Arguably, the leading name in this is from Tobii Dynavox. They have a cell phone app, but it's only for Apple devices. They have a dedicated tablet, but it's like $750 with assistance. And at that point, you're adding additional bulk to the like everyday carry of a given person, even if it is a dedicated device to do only this. It doesn't solve the infantilizing aspect of it either, though, because the cards, the buttons that exist in these devices have little pictures on them, which granted can be helpful in certain circumstances, but like the emoji of a happy face next to the word happy is not what most people need when they need to express that they're happy. The current landscape of this tends to be higher technology. Either an app that's not on your device, or requires subscription, or huge dedicated thing.
So these decks, I know that people can get a generic deck for $25, I think. Is that correct?
Hmm.
And then you can also customize. So like if they have
Yes,
specific needs.
whatever a person needs to be committed into one of these decks can very swiftly be committed into one of these decks. Um, I've made the colors adjustable. I've made the symbols per section customizable. The entire product lends itself at this point to customization.
One of the things
Um,
I like that you've talked about is that you were very intentional with your font choice. Can you explain why that's important?
my intent with these cards is that they are maximally accessible to the user, yes, but also anyone that they might be attempting to communicate with. The choice of Open Dyslexic is to hopefully ensure readability. It's in bold, optical contrast between the text and any given background color.
You've said that you printed this or you created this for a friend of yours who needed like accessibility help. How has it been for them? Like, if you're able to talk about, has it been useful? Has it been frequently used? Do they keep it on like uh, on their person at times, or is it like in a glove compartment? Like, how does the everyday use look like?
He's been keeping them attached to his bag, either like clipped on via the ring, or in the front pocket of it. But they've been an occasional use tool. They've been very helpful.
I think the only thing we maybe haven't touched on is that, we focus on how this can be useful for individuals to like potentially purchase or have it on hand. But I think it's as useful for like a paramedic or like a first responder to be able to have that in their toolkit to give to someone who maybe isn't responding to them, but they could use information.
Yeah, paramedics, doctors, clinics in general, therapists' offices. There are many situations, especially in the health world that can be stressful to the point of sending someone into verbal shutdown. Having a tool like this on hand that doesn't require like learning the device or navigating through pages and tabs and all that, having something like this on hand would be massively helpful in those moments.
Well, I was Jules talking about the communication card. So thank you so much for letting us know about it. It's a really cool accessibility device I think everyone can use. So thanks for being on my show and talking about it.
Thank you for having me.
This one's going to be a little bit shorter. I could get into a lot of detail or not much detail, but I want you to know that if you at all are able to be part of our 2025 legislative session in any capacity, really just get in touch with me. There are a lot of organizations that are going to be doing this work in some way or another, but I'm the only person that really tries to connect all of these dots across the state. I'm not singularly issue focused. I do focus myself on LG plus individuals, and I'll probably be the one that leads a lot of that work. However, I try to work with everyone. Any way that we make life better for anyone in the state helps everyone. So I look at food security, I look at unions, I look at abortion issues and healthcare, I look at funding, I look at homeless issues, like everything that can impact a person's life, that's my charge. My main work is suicide prevention as a suicide prevention advocate, and suicide is multifactorial, which means I have to do everything. So I am not going to be the best person for your labor rights, but I will connect you to who is. I'm not perfect, I'm not the best, but I work at this every day, and I will be so active during session, putting out content and letting you know how you can get involved, because you can. It's easy. I am nothing. Like, there's no reason I should be anywhere doing anything, but I am, and so can you. So I have a newsletter that goes out. I have a lot of different things I plan to do. I really just ask, follow me. If you can promote the stuff that I do, it makes me more effective. It makes the work I do easier. If you have things going on, let me know, because I'm a center point that can connect people to all the stuff going on, because I do de-siloing work, and I'm one of the only people I know that does that. So this is my call to action to say that in another month, we're going to have our 69th legislative session, nice, and then we are going to see what happens. We're going to see what our lawmakers want to do, and we're going to respond to it. I'm not really that proactive, I guess. I don't have bills I'm like pushing to get sponsored. I'm more just, what does our government want to do, and how can I inform them the best of my ability, with good governance and education and research and data, and to let you know what's going on so you can tell them your values. So the bills we passed are based on us as North Dakotans and not some special interest or some vendetta someone has. It's based on public good, because that's what government should be, and that's what I want to fight for. So just a little pitch on that, I guess. There's a lot of work I did in 2023. You can access that to see where I'm at, but from what I understand, a lot of people are like, wow, you're better than a paid lobbyist. I'm like, that's nice. That's good to hear. They got paid a lot of money and I did it for free. But I have a gun to my head. I do it because it's people's lives on the line. And I work as long and as hard as I need to. I don't clock out. Like in 2023, I was doing 20-hour days for weeks. Like, I am there to keep people as safe as possible. And I will put all of myself on the line to do as much as I can to do that. So that's what I got. Hopefully I do a good job, could use help, but I'll promote anything you're doing. Let's help each other out too. That's what I got. Yeah. Have a good night, everyone. Bye. Well, thank you everyone for watching my show. That's all I have for today. I hope you have a good rest of your week. I hope we see you back here next week. Just want to give some thank yous to all the folks here who contributed to the show, who made it all a great time and informed us about the cool stuff they're doing. He will be my outro probably for a while until I choose to change it. You all have a good day. Bye.